Good morning, gentlemen, and welcome to week 5 of home learning. It seems a long time ago now since my first address to you back on the 23rd of March, but there are now hopeful signs that we are starting as a country to get on top of the spread of this pandemic, and that fairly soon now we will be able to begin to start to think about coming back to school. The Prime Minister, Mr Johnson, has said that he will be talking to the nation next week about the government's plans for easing lockdown and what he has called a phased reopening of schools. It will probably still be a number of weeks before schools do start to reopen, and when they do, it will probably not be for all students at once. So it is really important that you keep up with your daily routine of learning at home, spending at least 3 or 4 hours each day following the work your teachers are setting for you in Google Classroom. Remember that if you need any help or advice with it, or if you're struggling to get into Google, all your teachers' email addresses can be found on the front page of the school website, and you can contact them for help. Although, like everybody else, I want lockdown to end as soon as possible, there have been some real benefits in the quieter, slower pace of life that we have all had to adopt. I rarely hear a plane in the sky these days, and I hear far fewer cars on the roads. But I do hear plenty of bird song, and it's delightful, especially early in the mornings, and I encourage you to take a moment every week to stand in silence in your garden if you have one, or just outside your house or flat if you don't, and just listen to the sounds of nature. When I do this, it reminds me of one of my favourite poems, a poem called Pied Beauty by Gerard Manley Hopkins. I'm going to read it to you. Glory be to God for dappled things, for skies of couple colour as a brinded cow, for rose moles all in stipple upon trout that swim, fresh fire-cold chestnut falls, finches' wings, landscape plotted and pieced, fold, fallow and plough, and all trades their gear and tackle and trim, all things counter, original, spare, strange, whatever is fickle, freckled, who knows how, with swift, slow, sweet, sour, a dazzle dim. He fathers forth whose beauty is past change. Praise him. I'll make sure that this poem is included in this week's Chorley from Home PowerPoint, and I'd like you to read it a few times. Study what it means to you. Find out the meaning of words you may not understand, words like pied, brinded or stipple. Look at how the poet has used alliteration, rhyme and onomatopoeia. It's really quite different from what we usually find in poetry. And then, and here's the challenge, I would love some of you to write your own poems or descriptions of nature and send them to me at dconnor@chorleyboys.co.uk, and I will send a prize to the author of the best one. Reading poetry is a great way to get short, sharp bursts of reading under your belt as a change from getting stuck into a full novel, and I urge you to try it. I know that you have heard me talk about reading a lot in my assemblies when we were in school and in these weekly addresses. Now, the reason I do that is because regular reading, especially reading for pleasure, is just about the most important thing you can do to be successful at school and in life. You may have seen the quote from the children's author Barley Rai that Dr. Evans posted on Twitter this week. I'll read it for you. Reading for pleasure is the biggest single factor in success later in life outside of an education. Study after study has shown that those children who read for pleasure are the ones who are the most likely to fulfill their ambitions. If your child reads, he will succeed. It's as simple as that. That's a very powerful quote, isn't it? So if you are not already reading for pleasure every day, Start today. Just 10 minutes and then build up from there. If you like adventure, try reading Kidnapped by Robert Louis Stevenson. It is totally classic. A story of treachery, courage and romance in the wild Scottish Highlands. It's about David Balfour, a handsome and wealthy young man whose luck runs out. His wicked uncle wants to get his hand on young David's fortune, and he doesn't care what it takes. He'll even kidnap him. That's the start of this book. One of the best adventure stories ever written. How will it end? Expect shipwrecks, betrayals, and a heart-stopping chase across the rugged Scottish wilds. If you read it and enjoy it, try listening to my reading of Treasure Island by the same author. You'll find it on the school's YouTube channel. Or if you already read regularly and you prefer a slower burn, try To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee, one of my very favourite ever novels. It's a little legend that helped change the world. If you can't imagine a society that is so racist that a black person isn't allowed to sit in a white bus seat, it is partly because of this book, supporting the magnificent civil rights movement led by black people like Martin Luther King and Malcolm X in the United States. It is the gripping tale of two children, Jem and Scout Finch, of their father, Atticus Finch, a small-town lawyer, and of Tom Robinson, a black man falsely accused of rape, fighting for survival. Most of all, it is a story about doing the right thing. Or if you like a good laugh, try reading Billy Liar by Keith Waterhouse about the frustrations of growing up as a teenager in a small town. It tells the story of Billy Fisher, a Yorkshire teenager unable to stop lying, especially to his 3 girlfriends. Trapped by his boring job and his boring parents, Billy finds that his only happiness in life lies in grand plans for his future and his fantastical daydreams of his made-up country of Ambrosia. Funny and sad in equal measure. Now, all these books and many, many more are available in our ebook library, which is available to you all. You'll find the link to the library with this address and in your Chorley from Home slides this week. So have a great week learning at home, and remember, listen to nature, write about nature, and send your poem or description to me by Friday if you want to be considered for a prize, and read every day. Thank you for listening.